Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend vid, and we're going to be talking about some weekly actionable setups, and we'll start with the indexes as always. So SPY, here's your monthly, here's your weekly. How you're going to reverse that, right? So we're not buying SPY. That's not happening because that below here, that's still a short. So if we go to Qs, there's your inside down. Did we talk about that? We did on last weekend's vid. Did we say it's going down there on Monday? We did at the intraday vid. So very nice stuff if you traded with us. Off of the videos just on YouTube, you got it from 436 down into, at the lows, 413. So pretty nice. Dow Jones, this would be a lot closer to a 2-2 should things recover with the 2-2 month going outside of this. If everything else is a 2 down and this is a 2 up, we would consider it a triangle out. But if we see simultaneous breaks, 2 weeks, which we're just not going to have next week, it's be difficult, then we would say that's going to be the strongest one. We might see some triangle out action. They may take it up into here, but it's going to be hard to reverse all these months down. If you go to IBM, how are you reversing that, right? So 322's way up here, and they're still doing that with the 2-2 month, and they've negated the year. So as far as we know, IBM, and sadly, my thinkorswim's being messy here. Below this, in IBM, like 199.40, that's going to go outside year. And if it does that, it's going down here too, 96. So that's still a problem. We haven't seen the rest of them do that. Dow Jones would be the closest to negating the year. And if we go to the Qs, also very close to doing that. But we need them all below the yearly open, and then we'll say the market's crashing because 2 go 3 on the year would take you here. So we'll be watching for that. But for the time being, when the market's crashing, you normally don't see rotation so much. You might see like one sector staying up, like utilities or like gold. Normally when things are really bad, they'll go after gold because it's a safe haven asset type. But what we do see is some attempts at rotation. So we identified utilities last week in the nightly vid, and if you followed us, even if you're a day late, there's your Momo hammer, there's Friday, boom, nice. So that's going to set up your weekly 3-2-2. So they bought up, they sold down, they sold down. Now if they buy up again, they might go a lot further, try and take out these guys up in here. And if you do that, you got a pivot machine gun quarter. So we're going to go after that because it's taking last quarter's highs, and that tells you things like Duck 3-3, and this was our one that we entered off the 2-2 day down in here, 93 to 98. We grabbed the 95 calls, and those are now well in the money, and we got next month, so a lot of time to do that. And what you can see is they sell down, they buy up, they sell down again, and then 2-2, they buy up again, so it's very obvious. SO, you're going to have another very good one. So this is the leader we identified off the 2-2s, and then boom, boom, right into the highs just like Duck. And same thing. Here's your 3. So it can be 3-2 and stay out of that. If not, 3-3, now the market has issues if we go back into 72.22s. So definitely want to know about those. And there's more than that. There's going to be AEE 3, NEE. You're going to have a 2-2-2 shotgun set up to try and expand over the try with a 3-2 month and an inside quarter up. So that's something we can know about. The only thing is inside years. So inside quarters or inside bars that break during higher time frame inside bars, these are more likely to rev strat. If it's enforced, it's not rev stratting, but if it does come back in, it's trying to. So just got to be careful of that. We want to go for the ones that are really strong. And specifically NRG in there will be one of the strongest going into the highest 3-2 year. They went 3 last week. They're closer to a 2 down, but they could forgive NRG and go rev strat days up on Monday. So what we're going to do, and what I suggest you do is this. We go on the week and you scan. You could say utilities, give me the things in force on the week. Since it's not the week open, we can go on the month. So we go on the month. These are the strongest ones. And Duck is one of those, you can see. And on the week, you just want to do that. And you want to say, okay, how many utilities do you actually have breaking the week? 3-2 or 2-2 in force? And you can also just scan and say, instead of in force, how many 2s do we have to the upside next week? If we have 16 or 10 names on this list, then it's pretty much a definite buy. If there's only like 2 or 3 breaking up, then we don't have as much evidence. And on Monday, this is what we're looking to do. We want things that are very evidenced trades, so to speak. So utilities is one we'll want to know about. Another one we'll want to know about is the XLP staples, which we've already talked about in the nightly vids and identifying that rotation. The staples will be a 2 down month still, so they're still weak, still red, but a 2-2 week could change that, or at least attempt to. And in there, there's KHC, which was a 2-2 week last week. We identified it off the inside day here, and then boop, right into the highs, 4%. Go to CAG. That's another one. It's going to be a inside week 1-1 for next week. If we go to Pepsi, that's a 3 back into a 3. So 3-2 KO. Also a 3 back into the previous range. And these are ones we identified on Friday with the inside 60s at the open Coca-Cola and inside 60 here, Pep. 3-1-1-2, boom, right? And so we'll keep looking at those. There's going to be more than that. There's Keurig Dr. Pepper, which is also a 2-2 week last week. Also one we identified off the inside day list, and then inside up, boom, makes the high. So keep going after those. And if you want to get them all, go and check that video that we put out. What was it? It was Monday night, and that's where we identified those. If we go to the energies now, we have some setups with continuity. So CVX, a 2-2-2 with full time from continuity, hammer week. There's also things like SU with the 2-2-2 as well. There's also going to be PAA 2-2-2 as well. And that also is going to bring us to look at the energies, XLE. So I want to see, can that actually 2-2 or not? If it doesn't, that's a problem. Same with XLP. A lot closer at, or not XLP, XOP. So that one's nowhere near doing that. You can see they reversed on Friday, but they didn't stay up. If you go to OIH, that was still a 2 down on Friday, so no reversal there. But we'll definitely keep an eye on those since we know they did buy them. Now we got some triangle out action. Do they come back or not? The strongest ones will have those weeks that we just mentioned. And there's also some threes in there. ET, you have an outside week. KMI, you got an outside week. And it's LNG as well, outside week. And LNG, this is natural gas, so it's different than the XLE, but a 3-2, you could go back all the way through that stuff. So you can check out NG. And natural gas, they would have a 2-2-2 week. They're still double inside month. So you can see the try here. They poke up, they poke down. Now they're probably going to try and take these guys out first. So we won't have much evidence there unless we see something big happen. So we'll keep an eye on it, but just don't have as much as we'd like. What we do have a lot of evidence on still is gold. Inside week with silver. Inside week. So what does that tell you? Go after those next week with the 2. Like we said last week, if you're trading those this week, you're going to be a little early since they stayed inside after Tuesday. And that tells you to go after NEM gold, 2-2-2 for back through the try towards the 43s. Tells you to go after WPM, which is still, look at this month, bright green. So if you knew about that off the macro vid, which we talked about, you can stay in that and then add on next week. If we go to GDX, you'll see the 2-2-2. Go to JNUG, you'll see the 2-2-2. So the question is do we get all those 2 up on Monday? Because if you do, we can buy those right away on Monday. If we go into the industrials here, we did see Lockheed Martin up, taking the month, continuation after the 3-2-2s last month, which gets you a lot closer to the quarter Momo Hammer. Yeah, GNRC, which is also going to be a similar industrial, like kind of a war type of stock, 2-2-2 here. You'll have Triple M, which is a little bit of a rev strat, but that's kind of pushing it. You do have that hammer quarter. It's just not doing anything, and we're already a month in. We did see airlines last week get going. Things like UAL really got going. Here's a big 3, so does it stay out of that or come back through? Love, not so much. American Airlines, 3, so could they 3-2 and get you through previous range or not? There's also Alaska Airlines, big 3. So you got 3s in the airlines, and what that means is if you 3-2, that's a good thing to know about. And if it fails, that's also a good thing to know because you could go back down there. They sold down, they bought up, they might buy up and sell down again. So you can play those if you like 3s. And then the other thing would be in the financials. We do see a little bit of a hammer week there. So if things should recover, those would be the strongest, which tells us, first of all, Wells Fargo, they had a good week. SCHW had a pretty good week. JPM will have the hammer. Bank of America will have the hammer. And the insurers, Allstate, you'll have the hammer there. And you'll have, there's more than just that. AXP and the consumer finances, they already had a good week. On the 2-week chart, you got this big 1-3, so 3-2, similar to last time. Here's a 3-2 here, and then all the way up, another one here. So we'll see if that keeps happening or not. SCHW would be another one in there. You'll see the 2-2 last week, also creating that 2-week outside bar. So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on those financials as well. And I know it's a lot. You don't have to trade everything. Pick your favorite or pick the most evidence ones like the gold and silver, which we already knew about, and go after those. Outside of that, on the downside, the white girl stocks and stuff, Alta, you can see your 302 week down from last week's weekend vid. They did get killed, so that's good. And from the month and from the quarter, 322, we mentioned it was taking the quarter down up in here and 11%. Go to Lulu. So they hit some exhaustion. You'll see on the week. They had the 2 down in green for next week, so they may become a 2 up. And we had the 2-2 day in here. And we had some people asking about this on Wednesday, and we said, yes, if you're short, you would reduce your position in here. And when it goes 2 up again here, you can reduce even more because as it confirms in the other direction, it's more likely to continue. So you can reduce, and then if you have them up here, you can leave and see, do we get a 2-2 and then a 2 back down again next week, or maybe a 3? If we go to Starbucks, similar deal. You can see they did reverse last week. They're still going to be year and down. So that's something we want to know about if it stays in force. We go to the quarter. Still have the quarter and down. So as far as we know, you had the 2 up last week, but it could be a triangle out if they come in Monday and slap it again. And that would look something like this. So you can see all these bars here outside of all this stuff here. So the question is are you going to come back through that or not with the PMGs next week? If we go to Lulu, Alta, Elf off the inside week did confirm Alta. Didn't go too much, but that's still an inside week down. So till that reverses, which it's nowhere near doing, they're trying to bring it in. On the quarter, still not a 2 down. On the month, that's a 2-2 in force. Has hit its exhaustion or magnitude of the month, but you haven't made new lows yet, so you still could go down there. So we'll keep an eye on that stuff. And outside of that, let me make sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. Yeah, that's going to cover all bases. So I will see you guys bright and early on Tuesday morning for the stat people. And if you're not in stat and you're thinking about it, or you could be persuaded, we do have a announcement coming up soon. Our internal deadline's on Friday. So sometime after this coming Friday, we'll have that out, and it'll come out in one of our nightly vids. So stay tuned for that. But I'll see you guys then, and I hope you have a good rest of your trading week.